by the minute. An entire family just vanishes.
4 people disappear, leaving behind a bloody trail.
It felt like something you would watch on a scary movie.
I haven't slept all freaking night.
We also have officers on quad runners, checking fields.
Tell me a little bit about Tina. We butt heads.
The clock is ticking and lives are on the line.
She could be being tortured. She could be locked up somewhere, tied up somewhere.
Investigators searching for answers in the interrogation room.
Cody alive, Matt? Stephanie alive? This.
Sheriff Barber's office.
Yes, this is Valerie Haythorne. One of my employees did not show up for work this afternoon, which is totally uncharacteristic of hers. I am out at her house now. I just went in her home because I'm so worried about her. There is blood everywhere.
Don't go back in the house.
I'm not going to you. I'm staying in the driveway.
Okay.
Tina Herman had 2 children, a 13-year-old girl, Sarah, and an 11-year-old boy, Colby. She had not come into work on Wednesday. She was a very dependable employee, and it was unusual for her not to show up. When Tina failed to show up for work again, the manager came over to the house. She let herself in through a rear window.
There was blood leading from the front door, through the hallways, back into the rooms and into the bathroom.
She had groceries on the floor in the kitchen that she had apparently just carried in, and they contained items that would have normally been refrigerated immediately.
We begin tonight with a developing story, a mystery that grows stranger by the minute. An entire family just vanishes.
Tina's 2 children who had been in school on Wednesday had not been in school the following day. And that, of course, heightened the concern because Tina wasn't accounted for and her children were not accounted for.
We started seeing distinct patterns. We saw 3 separate bloodstain patterns in 3 different rooms. And we saw drag marks from each of those bloodstain patterns that converged into the bathroom. Oil had been poured down, and it looked to be as if it might be an attempt to set the scene on fire. So the motor oil led to a significant amount of footwear impressions that were found in the residence. They were able to find that was a 7.5 airwalk. We made our conclusion that it was most likely the 13-year-old girl who had walked out of there, and we hoped that she was still alive.
I met Tina Herman and we worked the same shift together. She loved to do anything with her kids. Both kids were involved in sports. She never missed a game. Took them to the movies. Everything was always about the kids.
Very loyal friend. If she knew someone was going through a rough time in her life, and Stephanie was going to be there to help her through.
Stephanie was probably Tina's closest friend that she had. She lived down the street from Tina Herman.
We were told that Tina was in the process of looking for an apartment. Stephanie came over to the house to go apartment hunting with Tina.
As the search intensifies, so does the fear in this community.
I think everyone's just kind of really scared that something like this could happen so close to home.
It felt like a nightmare. It was like something you would watch on a scary movie, not something that would happen to people that you knew.
You know, I'm a father, man. You know, my kids are my life. All I would ever want to do is protect them, you know. And I just got this weird, creepy feeling that, something is wrong with my kids, man. And I haven't slept all freaking night. I haven't been to bed since, since any of this.
Well, she didn't show up for work Wednesday. And nobody could get a hold of her. Her phone was off. And we're like, okay, what's going on?
I talked to her Tuesday night. And I talked to her Wednesday at 12:10. And Wednesday, that was the last time I talked to her.
That was on the phone?
That was on the phone.
Between the two of them, she was looking to move out and leave him.
A major concern was that her boyfriend, was not at the scene until late in the day on Thursday. It seemed, unusual.
How you doing, Greg? Good.
I'm glad you came in. I don't know, have you been calling and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta understand, and I know you're worried, and I would be worried too.
I rather than calling mainly today, I was trying to see if there was something I could do to help, if I could search or something.
When the boyfriend was interviewed by the Knox County Sheriff's Office, I was able to observe from another room during that interview.
That I had no clue what was going on.
You said that you're sleeping on the mattress out in the living room?
Yeah.
Why was Tina looking for an apartment?
I don't know if she was or not. That's just what I heard.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about Tina?
I can summarize our relationship. I mean, it's an on again, off again. We butt heads. We've been split up for the past month. I know it didn't sound good with everything that's going on. I could just tell she wanted to get back together, and the way she was acting towards me, like when I left Wednesday morning, she was mad. She knew I was going to stay with my friend that night, and she thought maybe I was going to see a girl or do something.
What day was that?
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday. And that's, what time did you leave?
I left the house around 3:40. I had woken her up. I mean, I know we had our problems, but I still love her and I still care about her.
You know what?
I love her kids. I mean, I've raised them for the past 5-6 years like they're my kids. I just want you guys to find her because kill me. I just keep picturing them out in the woods. And
he had what was a very easy to check out alibi. He said that he had left for work very early, which was his normal routine. I said he worked an hour and a half away in a large warehouse, that he had made plans with another worker to go golfing on that following Thursday. He was invited to spend the night at the friend's house. The initial response in terms of both his demeanor and the story that he was telling suggested that he was not involved.
So walk you out.
Code 6.
We had basically run out of suspects. We were thinking, well,
family.
That shopping bag were 2 tarps and a package of heavy-duty garbage bags.
The name of the store was on the bag. If this store might be able to do some research and find out if someone purchased these items in this time frame we're looking at.
They were able to find that purchase, find a video of that person. The video cameras caught the offender going into his car and leaving. Couldn't get a plate from that vehicle, but it was a unique looking compact car.
The security person actually said that he thought the vehicle he was driving was a Toyota Yaris. So I thought, well, how many Toyota Yarises could there be in Knox County? And on the first page for that search, the last one on the page was Matthew Hoffman. He looked very much like the subject in the video and was actually wearing the same shirt in his driver's license photo that he was wearing at the store.
Matthew Hoffman had an interesting past. He was convicted of arson, which involved a home invasion. and said that he committed the arson to cover up his tracks.
They went in through the front of the house, and they found him asleep on the couch in the living room, and immediately took him into custody.
Mr. Hoffman had what I would call a fetish with leaves. He was a tree trimmer for a while, and he was oftentimes known to climb trees and be sitting in trees.
I mean, the whole house was full of leaves. He had collected a large amount of leaves, had them tacked to his walls. I don't know if he was using them for insulation or what. Search. And they didn't find anything else on the ground floor. They didn't find anything else on the second floor. And then they noticed that there was a dresser pushed against the basement door leading to the basement. You know, it was strange. What's down in his basement? And it was only on removing that dresser and going down into the basement that they discovered Sarah.
And I could hear Joe yelling, "They found her, she's alive, she's alive."
And in this basement area, there was a large pile of leaves, and then he had placed a number of blankets on top of that, and that's where he was having Sarah sleep. She was tied with bungee cords wrapped around her feet, her ankles, and her wrists, and she also had, you know, like work gloves over her hands with duct tape.
In the beginning, there wasn't a lot of hope that anybody would be alive. It was just pure elation for all of us. It did give us some hope that there would be others somewhere else.
Sarah said that she and her brother had arrived home from school on that Wednesday, that they had come in the front door and, you know, seen blood on the floor, and that then this guy just appeared from around the corner, that she ran back into her bedroom. She was there in the house for a while. She heard noises coming from the bathroom. She said that she suspected that they had been killed. She was afraid she was going to be killed, but that he had told her that, you know, he had not killed them, you know, that things would be okay.
Sarah did confirm in her interview after she was rescued that he had sexually assaulted her. Through her account, it gave us a better timeline as to how things occurred.
Anytime you're involved in an interrogation, the first thing you want to do is establish communication. That it's just a matter of trying to come up with the right way to have that person identify with you, trust you to some degree.
Hey. Matt, you go by Matt or Matthew? We'll give you a minute, man, if you need to think a little bit. Just tell us when you're ready. Tired, man?
We're trying several different types of questions for him. At times would try to appeal to his empathy towards the victims.
Sarah's gonna be okay, man. I want you to think about what you would be doing if you was the family member and what you would be going through right now.
They also tried to be a little bit more stern with him.
Cody alive, Matt? Stephanie alive, Matt? You screwed up, brother. You made a mistake. Or you're cold-hearted and you don't deserve to walk the streets. I'm not sure which. Right now, you're looking pretty cold-hearted.
You've got this anxiety of, you know, there could be people alive hidden somewhere.
This is a very public case. The local public defender knew that we had a guy in custody, so they were trying to basically force their way in, figuratively, not literally, to get access to him to basically be able to counsel him, which, you know, I mean, that's their role. We knew that he was going to have a first appearance in court eventually because he was being charged. The clock was running, and we...
Sunday, 13-year-old Sarah Maynard was found, bound and gagged, but alive in the basement of a Mount Vernon home. And deputies arrested Matthew Hoffman.
We have a lot of officers out and around. I think we need your help and you need ours.
He almost seemed comatose in that interview. It was something I had not seen in 22 years in law enforcement, the way he reacted.
There's family members out there of other people, and all they want is closure. That's all they want. They've been up for days like you and I. Your same heart, broken. Your heart's broken because of what happened. No, someone broke your heart. Why's your heart broken?
It was obvious we were hitting a chord with him. I think he was probably trying to resist a connection initially, as far as doing some form of sign language and trying to resist that.
At least it was communication. That was a big breakthrough, given the fact that he'd been absolutely almost catatonic up until that point.
I kind of look like this is a game to him. This whole thing's a game.
Well, it has to be a guy that can sit there that long with his eyes closed, wishing we would go away.
My having come from having talked with Sarah, who had spent the last couple days with him, let me go in and talk to him about her, about the fact that she's concerned about what's going on with the rest of her family members, to just try and work the young girl angle to him.
Hey, Matt. I'm Joe Dietz. I'm a special agent with the Ohio Criminal Investigation. I just came in down here to help these guys out a little bit.
My short-term goal was just to get him to respond. You know, we had rescued Sarah. I thought maybe there's something going on here.
I mean, if you have any feelings for her at all, that if we could just handle this issue, I mean, I think she probably knows what's happened, but you know how it is. You always hold out hope. If you didn't care about her, you know, you wouldn't have had to let her take a shower. You wouldn't have had to feed her.
A lot of times you just have to wait, you know, because they become uncomfortable with the suffering.
So you must have some feelings for her. If you didn't care about her, you could have just killed her too. I must have.
I knew I must have done something wrong. And I found her in my house. She was tied up. And so I took care of her.
At what point did you find her tied up in your house?
Our ability to continue talking with the subject is the subject. In other words, they're the ones who basically at any time can say, I want an attorney. And, you know, we knew that any attorney that he was going to get was going to immediately tell him to stop talking. And I knew we were coming to a close here, so I wanted to give him something to think about overnight.
Okay, Matt. Here's my number. Come on, I need to sleep. Here's my number. Don't make me reach over there to try and slide it in between your handcuffed hands.
I'm trying to keep an open line of communication. Here's my information, make some kind of a personal connection, because tomorrow we're going to be back to fight another day.
Have a seat.
I don't think it was a coincidence that he picked that home with a 13-year-old girl in it. He chose not to kill her and to take her instead. So we thought, let's see how he will behave with a female interviewer.
Hi, Matt. Hi, my name is Chris. I wanted to talk to you for a second if I could.
The day before, the gentleman had had a table between them. So we changed up the room so that we put a chair close together. I had my hair in a pony.
Sleep last night.
Going at him hard didn't seem to work. We decided we were going to go very slowly and a soft approach. He was actually shivering pretty significantly, so I'm trying to get him relaxed to think that I'm interested in how he's handling the situation right now. So that was just a way to try to put him off guard, to break down those barriers so that I can get to that backstory.
Where's the sadness coming from? Why do you think that?
Because I must have done something bad. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
It's okay.
I don't know if there's other people are.
What other people?
Who was those guys grilled me about yesterday?
Well, I'm concerned about you right now. It's okay.
As we were going through the day, I thought, well, he's got to be hungry.
Sent out for some foods,
Okay.
some pizza, some garlic bread, a couple energy drinks here.
Okay.
He wants to be taken care of. He wants to be paid attention to.
Do you want some pizza? I'm good on there.
Especially by a female, and I just fed into him, giving him that focus and giving him that attention so that he would bring his guard down.
People will forgive if you're honest. And try to help as much as you can. That goes a long way with most people.
This is too big for forgiveness. There was a girl walked into my house. Could I be forgiven? I don't even forgive myself for that. How did that happen?
These people have been missing since Wednesday, and there'd been a great deal of searching going on. Given the fact that we had significant signs of struggle, trauma, injury at height.
Of searching, Knox County Sheriff's deputies finally find 13-year-old Sarah Maynard alive.
32-year-old Tina Herman, 11-year-old Cody Maynard, and Tina's friend, 41-year-old Stephanie Sprang, are all still missing.
Going again, I feel like I'm losing you again.
You know what I felt when the SWAT team came in the morning? Relieved. She go back to her family, and then I didn't know what to do. What do I do to this girl? How did this even happen? What's going on?
Well, anything you know about that could help her and relieve her worries. Since you were there.
Hoffman outright lied about what happened with her. Basically saying, he just took care of her while she was there, when we know that he had sexually assaulted her. But I wasn't going to confront it. I think it's very important for him to hear that I'm not going to judge him in any way, so I can, be his, partner in this, so to speak.
What time is it?
3:16. But time is just so important when we're talking about people that are out there in the unknown. There really is urgency to finding out where they are.
I really want to go back to my cell. Sitting for too long.
Okay.
he would completely shut down. We did get nuggets of information that we certainly could have used against him. We knew that if he doesn't say this, we probably will never find them. So we need to get him talking.
Everyone at work was very hopeful, but as the days went on, we were feeling less and less.
It was like a roller coaster. I was always hopeful that they would find them all alive. I was fearful that they wouldn't.
The two clocks that were running in our mind were, one, how long?
We started hearing that the defense attorney's office wanted to communicate with him. We were hitting a point where we need to push now because we only have so much time left.
Well, we just appreciate you coming down again. We wanted to talk to you again, but just know that, you know, it's your choice. If you don't want to talk to us at any time, just let us know.
You guys just starting your day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's about 9:30. A little bit earlier. Do you normally an early riser, or do you stay up late and sleep in?
I get up early.
His whole demeanor has changed. He's now much more comfortable and kind of, you know, calling the shots in a sense.
What are your thoughts today after things we talked about and kind of left it last night with you feeling like you wanted to do what you could to help?
The day before, he said he wanted to talk with me alone.
Now, do you want to have that conversation now? Chris, can you give us a couple of minutes?
Okay.
My first thought was, well, this is a test.
This cough is kind of getting me from the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, you're not going to try and overpower me, take my gun or anything, right?
No, you might. If you want to, you can give it to someone.
Okay.
So we didn't know what he was going to want to do.
I mean,
Just wait right there. I'm going to walk down to the bathroom if you want to just join me.
so we go down to the bathroom down the hall. It's a small one John, one sink, you know, room. And, you know, he wants me to go in with him.
Obviously, he knew there were no cameras. So we didn't know what he was going to want to do.
And then he says that he's had this dream about working in a meat packing plant. And he saw cut up body parts, and it all came back to him. The whole discussion, again, confirmed the worst fears that those people were in fact deceased. So he wanted to tell us where the bodies were, but it was only going to be under a certain set of circumstances. Then we would agree to take him out, to have him show us where the...
This is some really disgusting stuff in a big garbage can. I was hoping I could make some excuse for you guys to kill me.
At this point, all the evidence was there. You know, I have enough information in front of me to know we had him.
He knew he was guilty. He knew he was caught. He knew this was over. So we just started trying to push even harder and get him to admit it without giving him anything back.
I just see it right on the tip of your tongue. I see it. You want to do it. And I imagine you're just afraid. And you tell me what it is that's stopping you.
These past few days and all the stress, feeling that I'm involved, I just wanted to figure out some way you could end it.
The one thing he had any control over, the last thing in his life he was going to have control over, was this stretch of time by basically dragging this out. So I was going to, just start to turn up the heat more.
I made up that just so I could...
Man, I don't believe that, man. I don't believe it. I think that you know.
I was told that the prosecutor had said that he's going to get arraigned soon, and we knew we were on a time crunch, and it wasn't working as the way we wanted it to. And the reality is that he's not telling us the truth.
So, I mean, this is realistically our last opportunity.
You gotta think of your family and you, yourself, and how that's gonna work. They're gonna be the ones that you have to face in the end.
But also take some of the other people that are, being affected by it. Sorry, but
Okay. We're done. We apparently are told we are done. We have to stop.
I had never had that happen before. I've had long interviews before, but I've not had them stop the interview. It can be frustrated when somebody else comes in to stop the process when the individual is still willing to talk. Apparently, between the Knox County prosecutor and the attorneys, they had decided on the deal of taking the death penalty off of the table. Once the deal was made, that's when he was willing to give up where the bodies were.
We headed out to this Pecosing Wildlife Refuge area. There's this large beech tree there, about 70 feet up. The branch is kind of wide out. I could see that about 7 foot above the ground, there was what appeared to be a knothole. I could see that there was a black garbage bag in there. And obviously that was confirmation we needed to believe that.
He went up to the very top of the tree and he dropped the bags the whole way down to the bottom.
Said that he had just identified the house the day before, that he had gone and spent the night across the street in a sleeping bag. Tina left, and he felt like she had gone to work and she was going to be gone for a while.
He stuck with his story that this was simply a home invasion. He said that he just wanted to hit her over the head and knock her out, but she wouldn't go unconscious. And in the midst of come home so early, and he heard them coming in and accosted them at the door. When he got down to just having the 13-year-old girl, he believed he didn't need to kill her because he felt he could subdue her. So that's why he did that out of...
Old missing.
I never thought that this would be an arson to cover up a homicide, to cover up an abduction.
A man with a dark past becomes the focus of the investigation.
Could have heard a pin drop in that room. We all knew his name.
It was a shock to everyone.
Could one man hold all the clues?
All right, I'm leaving now.
He was going to leave, and we wanted to keep him there.
Investigators searching for answers.
The fire was intense. It was in a double-wide mobile home, and those tend to burn very readily. When I arrived on scene, there was a fair amount of damage. Some of the windows had been blown out a distance away from the house. It appeared that there may have been some type of a vapor explosion. Pressure built up inside when gasoline was ignited that pushed the glass out from the frame. There was a bedroom that had some fire damage, and in that area, was where there was a red plastic gasoline container that seemed extremely out of place. Some of these things just didn't seem normal for a regular fire.
Shortly after crews put out the fire inside this Bemidji mobile home, investigators found a body inside.
Once we looked inside, we found out that there was a body of a female and there was a mattress on top of her. After removing some debris, it was noticed that her hands were in fact bound with what appeared to be duct tape.
It turned it into a homicide investigation at that point, in belief that someone was trying to cover something up by setting the place on fire.
Police are investigating the death at the mobile home as murder, and they are trying to piece together a timeline of events.
Our victim at the scene was Melissa Norby.
Melissa's cousin had called me that morning and said, please tell me it's not true. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, Melissa's house is on fire. And I'm like, what? My daughter is over there.
An officer contacted me and said that there was a female at the barricades that said her daughter had spent the night with Melissa. So I went out. I saw Amanda.
A missing child case.
It was discovered that 5-year-old had been visiting the residence the evening that the fire occurred.
The weekend of the 22nd of June, Melissa called me and she said, can I come get your daughter to spend the night with me? It was routine. She would take my kids overnight and, sometimes she would take them for 3 days because I trusted her.
I asked Amanda about what their fire safety plan would be at home. I wanted to know what her daughter would do in a fire. And Amanda said that her daughter would go outside and she would hide.
A team of investigators and volunteers searched the area, but they could not find the missing 5-year-old.
We were thinking there was no way that if we hadn't found her that, we thought that she had been taken.
I never thought in a million years that this would be an arson to cover up a homicide, to cover up an abduction. This girl's been missing since roughly 3 o'clock in the morning. We're worried that time is not on our side. We're worried that we're gonna be recovering as opposed to rescuing.
I was really scared. You hear about it all the time. If you don't find your child within the first, 24 hours, you probably won't get her back. My heart dropped to the floor. I said, I don't care what you have to do, find her.
We began to do victimology, talking to everyone who may provide us some little piece of information about Melissa's life.
We started to learn more about Melissa Norby's life through interviews with co-workers and her friends.
Melissa's cousin was interviewed by agents regarding Melissa's relationships with other males. Her cousin told the agents that she was aware that Melissa had been seeing a male recently from the Bemidji area.
So you are the cousin to Melissa? Correct. We talked about possible people who would be associated with Melissa or around her.
I knew the name Jake from very personal conversations Melissa and I had. She said they had been playing it rough. She was into, not S&M, but more like daddy, little girl, stuff like that.
You know how they met?
Melissa is always online.
Melissa referred to him as Jake. She was also able to provide that this individual also owned a food truck.
We called the city clerk looking for our food truck licensees, and she told us Jake's Eats is owned by Jacob Kent. Could have heard a pin drop in that room. We all knew his name.
It was like a light bulb went off because we were familiar with him in investigations.
Jacob Kent had child pornography convictions. He had tried to
purchased a young girl online for photographing purposes.
Based on his past history, based on his relationship with Melissa, Jacob Kinn was likely our guy. He was on probation at the time of this investigation. We asked the probation officer to call him and say, you know how these things work. Every time a kid goes missing, they always look at the people who are on probation for similar crimes. Just come on in, it's not a big deal. You'll be excluded very quickly. The whole idea of making it a very nonchalant encounter. The first thing we do, we reach out to the cell phone company and begin to get locations for Jacob's cell phone.
We wanted to know exactly where he was.
Jake, this is Chair. All right, you came into the police department, we're inside the interview room, you got two officers talking to you, you're not under arrest. You understand that?
And Jake, if there's any point that you don't want to talk to us, you know, walk right out the door and walk through the double doors just like you came in. And it's fine.
When Ken first came in, it was important for us to just establish rapport with him. That was my goal, not challenge him or get him upset that he would walk out of the interview room.
Here's the deal. We get missing kids. Guess who the first people we talk to?
Us.
Yeah.
I already knew that. I figured, but.
And that's why you're here.
You've seen the reports of this missing girl? Have you seen?
I haven't seen any reports.
Okay.
My ex brought it up because her boyfriend works for the fire department.
Yeah. Did you hear about the fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know that lady, actually.
And what's her name?
Melissa Narby. If that's right.
When's the last time that you've seen her?
Like 6 or 8 months ago.
Oh, so it's been a long time.
Yeah.
He didn't know that Melissa had talked to her cousin about Jacob being back in her life, so he probably thought that we weren't aware of that information.
You know, there's a fire. You know, there was a body found. We don't know what happened, okay?
Yeah. I stopped at her house once.
Was that the house at Hillcrest?
Yep.
Okay.
That was like a year and a half ago. I stopped there.
As we're interviewing Jacob, and we know because we've talked to all these other people who say they're in a relationship. They know each other well, and I'm watching to see how he is going to answer the question. He is distancing himself from her, and there's only one reason why.
Deadly house fire yesterday morning. Fire started around 3:30 in the morning.
Police in Bemidji search for a 5-year-old girl.
She was last seen wearing a black shirt, a pink skirt, and a pink bandage on her arm.
All right, last 48 hours.
Oh, let's see.
We want him to lock in his time frame, establish his timeline on where he was and who he had been with.
Where did you just come from?
Well, I was fishing up north.
Okay. Fishing where?
Clear Lake.
Clear Lake?
Yep.
Catch anything?
No.
No, which? What are you fishing for?
Bass.
Okay.
We just want to keep him talking because the more he talks, the more comfortable he is. So when we do ask the hard questions, he feels comfortable enough with our relationship to answer them.
Okay, let's, just so I can verify whereabouts. So if I'm gonna drive up there, what does it look like? But something, you know?
It's simple things.
Okay.
I don't know what really this has to do with tonight, though. I mean, it's...
Okay. Well, Help me out with it so we can cross it off our list. Our resort? Good. Did mark resort? We'll sign it to the resort? Okay. How many cabins are there?
I don't know. I haven't told.
Alright.
But I just don't know why it matters, you know, where I was fishing tonight.
There was very little eye contact. He had held a defensive posture. He became defensive over very basic questions to establish alibi when these were questions that most people would have no problem answering.
Having that prior knowledge of where his cell phone location was, and he started to give us a different story of his location.
Were you fishing with anybody?
No.
He had no knowledge that we had a cell phone location prior to the interview.
So from 7 till, you know, a little while ago, you're out fishing. You're pretty sure on your time frame?
I'm positive.
Okay.
He told us that he had been fishing by North Home, Minnesota, but his actual location was near Big Fork, Minnesota. And those two locations were approximately 30 miles apart. So we knew that was likely a lie, but lies are just as good as the truth in our business, especially when we can prove that he's lying.
Everything you told us is the truth. Your whereabouts, anything like that?
My whereabouts are exactly where it was.
His story about going to where he was at was just a blatant lie.
At this point, I'm not confronting him on those lies. I'm just letting him talk. I'm fairly laid back. You'll see that my legs are kind of stretched out. My arms are crossed. In fact, I'm pretending to sound somewhat disinterested. And the reason for that is I'm gathering information. The more information we're gathering, the more relationship building is occurring.
This Melissa, did you ever have sex with her? Never? Even years ago?
No.
Do you have any way to get a hold of her? Or?
No.
Did she ever want to have sex with you? Did she tell you that?
She texted flirty stuff, but...
And when was the last time you got a text message from her?
Like, 6 or 8 months ago.
He's already told us some stuff that contradicts what he told us before. I didn't have a way to get a hold of her, but she's flirty in her text messages?
Jake, everything you told us is true.
Yes.
There's nothing that's going to interfere with your recollection of your timeline and where you were.
Once we felt we got all that information from him, it was time to start confronting him on what we actually knew and to find out why he doesn't want to go there.
Tonight, the investigation continues. 5-year-old was discovered missing after a fatal mobile home fire.
Here's the deal. We're looking for a 5-year-old.
And I hope you find her.
There is a time in which the investigators determine we are moving from an interview to a confrontation.
Jake, we got reports that you had a relationship with Melissa.
There was never actually a relationship. This is what I already said.
It was a balance of how hard should we push him and confront him on what we know.
What about her coworkers where she's working now?
I don't know any coworkers.
Okay, well, the coworkers indicated that you guys were having sex.
I don't know any coworkers. I can't say anything to that.
Jake remains in the same position he has been in this entire interview. Every chance that he gets to say I didn't do it, he's saying I didn't do it.
They said you're having sex. You're, again, saying, no way.
We're at a stalemate here. There were several times where Paul or I would leave the room. Sometimes we find people confess better to one person than two.
Your lake? Who can put you at that lake?
Nobody.
Nobody?
I'm still not seeing why that matters at all.
I'll tell you why. Basically, Jake, your cell phone doesn't put you in that spot.
We started asking very pointed questions and questions that challenged his alibi and challenged him, his story to us, getting him to try to account for the information that we know.
Where were you when you called him?
That's where you are. That's where your cell phone is.
I don't know how that would happen, but yeah, I wasn't in Bigford. I had no reason to be in Bigford.
The frustration level increased with him, being uncomfortable answering questions. You could see that in his demeanor.
Step up, Paul, you're free.
Paul and I both leave the room, and that was a time in which we wanted to make sure we'd covered all our bases.
When Jacob Kennedy showed up at the sheriff's department, we observed right away that his boots were wet, his pants were wet. We walked outside and took a look at his vehicle and saw flower material and weeds. So it looked like he'd been driving off of the road.
Jacob parked right in front of the law enforcement center. His vehicle looked like it had been driving out in a field, certainly not to a resort to go fishing like he said he was.
We said, all right, let's do a search warrant on the vehicle. Let's do a search warrant on his person and for his house.
The atmosphere at the police department at that point was like a full court press. Everybody is high intensity. We're aware of the clock. If we don't find her in the first 24 hours, the chances of her being alive are pretty much none.
We'd step out of the room, not only to get advice on what to ask next, but what's Jacob's body language looking like without us in the room? He appeared stressed. He appeared as though this was the last place he wanted to be.
All right, I'm leaving now. Like I said, I was in the room 5 times, but they kept, like, talking to me. Goodbye.
He was going to leave, and we wanted to keep him there.
I don't want to hold him in the room because then, constitutionally, it looks like a detention. We're still waiting for search warrants. We're still waiting for other pieces of information. We want to keep him in that room. So we kind of walk this fine line, hoping that he stays there willingly.
I'm going to show you a couple more pictures. This gas can, have you seen this before?
Look familiar?
No. Looks familiar. I own a few gas cans.
You own one like that?
I own one like it, and it's at my house. That gas can was found at the arson site.
Okay.
He probably thought the gas can went up in the fire and was surprised that there was actually a gas can fully intact, still at the fire scene.
The entire focus of our evening is this little girl.
Yeah. I didn't do anything to the little girl. I haven't seen the little girl. I haven't seen Melissa in a long time. I haven't done anything.
What we're going to do is we're going to proceed.
The confrontation of, we think that you abducted the 5-year-old, occurs right here.
We're going to collect some evidence, and the evidence will show either you did or you didn't. Okay, like what? Any evidence on you? Any evidence in your vehicle? Any evidence in your house?
We're going to be executing a search warrant.
It's fine.
Okay? You can't have access to those things right now.
I have to. I can't sleep anywhere else. And you don't have the search warrant yet.
It's being done. I'll go check the status of the court orders. All right.
So what happens when I drive away? Because I don't see a court order. I don't see a warrant. I'm trying to play along and been telling you guys the truth.
Can we run you up to your house and get you some clothes?
No.
You're not going. Sit down.
No.
Sit down.
You said I was free to leave.
Sit down.
You said I was free to
Sit
leave.
down.
We all knew it. Jacob Kinn was likely our guy. We were very aware of the urgency and the time that we didn't have. We want to keep him in that room to gather the evidence to find this little girl.
At this point, sir, you're gonna have to have a seat.
We knew that we'd put the pressure on, and he wants to leave.
Sit down.
You said I was free to
Sit
leave.
down.
We have opted to try to keep him there in order to get the search warrant signed.
At this point, I want to call an attorney.
You can call whoever you want.
Have a seat.
Have a seat. You're being detained with pending court order.
Okay. So have a seat.
We're awaiting the signature from a judge on the search warrants. I made the decision that he needs to stay here. Legally, we're able to detain him for a short period of time, waiting for that search warrant to get signed.
The court order's coming.
Right. You said I was free to leave, so then when I say I want to leave, it's you have to stay.
At this point in the interview, he's had enough. I believe
Action. Guess what?
We move on to the next person.
So if I hand over my keys and my clothes, could I call my parents and have them come pick me up?
Definitely. You definitely.
your arrest around in your head is like, we should just arrest them, put them behind bars. And then it was, do I have enough to arrest them? But with the investigative team there, it was, all right, we're going to let them walk.
Hey. Hello? Can you come pick me up from the police department?
We just didn't feel that there was probably enough to hold him at the time.
We watched Jacob Kinn walk out of our police department. Not in handcuffs, but a free man. He wasn't ready to confess. And time is not on our side, but we had other officers and agents investigating his vehicle, and it was evident to them that he'd been somewhere rural, and we were interested in where that was.
Part of the problem with the data that we got from the cell phone was it landed out in the middle of a very rural area in Big Fork.
We took the latitude and longitude coordinates provided by the Verizon telephone company. We were able to map those coordinates, and I put the cell phone as to possibly being 5.2 miles northeast of the cell phone tower in Big Fork, Minnesota.
We were doing a map reconnaissance of the area, checking to see what other houses might be in the area. We found a property listed to a relative, but Jacob, that was right in alignment with where that phone ping showed up at. We knew we had to go check.
Grabbed my vehicle, my squad, a pair of boots, got a full tank of gas, and we made the drive to Big Fork.
When we got close to the area up in Big Fork, it was just starting to get light out. We were looking for any spots where a vehicle might have pulled off or turned around.
It had rained the night before, and as we're driving up to the intersection of Township Road 288, which is a dirt road, heading west off of the paved two-lane road that we were driving on, we could see a set of vehicle tracks. To us, it looked like the tire tracks were very similar to Jacob Kinn's tracks on his Jeep that we had looked at previously.
It was exactly what we had traveled to Big Fork to find.
We got to the west end of the township road and saw that the tire tracks had come out of a field road that also proceeded west and down a hill. And I
was afraid that we were going to find a little girl's body somewhere along that trail. As we got up over the rise on the top of the field, we could see a pickup camper
tucked back into the woods. The tracks pulled right up to the south side of the camper.
I walked up to the camper and the door was tied tight with a big wad of electrical tape. I was nervous and I opened up the camper door. I didn't know what we were gonna.
We got up to the camper, and around the door of the camper, you could see that somebody had placed electrical tape around the doorknob to prevent the door from being opened. And Rob looked at me and I said, "Rob, just go ahead and open it." And that's when we found her.
Hi, what did you say your name was again? I'm gonna take a little video. How'd you get here?
She's got me here.
Don was right next to me. Turn on your cell phone, he said. We didn't have body cameras and stuff at the time.
Okay, you don't have to be scared, okay? We're the police.
I saw a little girl sitting on a bed. Looked like she had just woke up. Sitting there, 10 fingers, 10 toes.
My name's Rob and this is Don. How old are you?
Probably 5 or something.
Finding that little girl alive, I don't know if words can describe it.
Is there anybody else around here with you? Okay. Is it okay if we take a few more pictures? Okay.
We had a text thread going on to share information. Don took a picture of me and the little girl and put it on that text thread.
6:15 a.m. is when I got the call from Don. He said, "We have her." I said, "Alive?" He said, "Alive."
What went through your mind at that moment?
That was fantastic. Never would have believed.
When I saw that text, it's still...
Are you thirsty? Okay.
For water.
It was amazing that we were able to find her alive.
My mommy's name is Amanda.
Okay.
They had called me and said, "We have your daughter. She is safe. She is asking for her mom." I mean, I just want to hold her. I want to hug her. I want her in my arms.
She told us her name, her mother's name. We could see that she had tape around her legs, that she had tape around her arms.
Do you remember what Missy's friend looked like?
And she told us about the man that put her there.
What kind of car does he have?
Wait, and it has a name on it.
She told us all these little bits of describing information that described Jacob Ken to us.
What does he look like?
He has a beard.
I'd received a text from Don Newhouse that says, "She's alive, arrest him."
Jacob William Kin, age 32, was identified as a person of interest.
I woke up to a picture of a girl that we had been looking for now 26, 27 hours, alive and well in an agent's arms. She's alive, arrest him.
And now we're like, where's Jacob right now? We need to find him and put cuffs on him.
Police found Jacob Kin driving his dad's pickup, traveling back to where he had held her captive. They captured him and interviewed him again at the sheriff's office in Grand Rapids.
Our goal was, let's reconfirm his story, that he had no connection with Melissa Norby, and have him continue to deny that.
All right, Jake. You're under arrest. Okay, see that. Since you are in custody, I will read you the number one. Okay.
He was very smug in appearance, said very little, and I truly think when Agent Girardi and I walked into that interview room, he had no idea we knew what we knew.
Okay, all right. Has anything changed from?
It's what changed from a couple hours ago. So I just wanted to settle him down and let's move on from there.
Last night when we talked,
Any type of story that he might try to create or explain his actions. When you're in court,
nothing's changed from last night. 100% sure?
95% sure. What's the 5%? I'm tired and groggy, and you guys kept me up all night. But you didn't really answer my question.
What was your question?
What changed between 2 hours ago and now? Like,
I had the photo that Don and Rob had sent me, and I just said, I'm just gonna let him know he's caught.
is that the 5% that you're talking about that you're not sure of?
That was a moment I won't forget.
You could have heard a pin drop when Agent Girardi pulled his phone out and brought up that picture. I'll remember this forever. He stared at that phone and looked at that photo. You can see him writhe in the chair a little bit, and he knew at that moment that we had him.
They put that piece of evidence in front of him and he shut down. That was really something to see.
Now, start over.
Now is the time, Jake. Okay, we know more than you think we do right now. And now is the time for you to fill in those blanks. Now is the time for you to come clean and tell us what really happened here and what's really gone on.
Take us through the night.
I try to play on his emotion. Tell us where you're at. Tell us what's happened. Let us fill in those gaps.
Started talking to Melissa Renfrew a month ago. Okay. We actually hadn't had a sexual relationship, but we, role played on the phone.
Role played, and what was her role?
It was daddy, daughter, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then I went over there the other night. What night? Today's Thursday.
Did you go there for her or for Melissa?
It was for Melissa, but it was...
Did you know that she was going to be there?
Yeah. You did know. I on. I didn't want an attorney.
He's actually smart enough to just say, I want to talk to an attorney. However, we had enough evidence that we knew what had happened anyway.
As investigators got through Jacob Kinn's phone and Melissa Norby's phone, there was information that they had planned this together, that Jacob would have a relationship with her, have a twist and turn like that.
Melissa being involved to the extent that she...
After the initial investigation and the arrest, we found a string of text messages that showed that this whole abduction was planned out, orchestrated, and discussed amongst Melissa and Jacob. They couldn't believe it.
Kinn. He had previously been arrested for child pornography and soon became the #1 suspect.
Victim as well, and that a stranger had abducted this girl.
Obviously, Melissa didn't consent to her death. He put that twist in there on his own. Jacob Kinn wanted the little girl for himself, and his avenue to do that was through Melissa Nordby. It was just another chapter in Jacob Kinn's sick mind.
This mother trusted her with her child, and she took total advantage of that and betrayed it because she wanted to have a relationship with someone who obviously did not value.
I don't get how a mother can do that.
As a police officer, I see victims of domestic abuse. Victims are manipulated in a way that preys on their self-worth. He made her feel so inadequate that she allowed